So we're going to go a little further into percents. We started before the break, but now we're going to get a little deeper and a little more complex. We're going to look into things like sales, tax, discount, salary versus commission, the interest involved in borrowing money or earning money. All those calculations involve manipulating this equation. The part over total equals the decimal, and the decimal we know how to turn into the percent. So this is a three-part equation. It's very similar to density equals mass over volume. There's three parts, and we know how to rearrange this equation, which means we should know how to rearrange this one. So this looks familiar to our density triangle. Density equals mass over volume. Density, mass, volume. And it was like this. Same thing here. So whatever you're looking for, cover it up, and then you can times or divide to find the rest. So if we were looking for the decimal, like we normally do, it's part over total. Part is like your test mark that you got, and the total is what it's out of. And we know how to manipulate that to get the decimal. Part divided by total gives us the decimal that gives us the percent. This triangle might be helpful for some of you to remember that relationship. Other people might want to rearrange the equation in order to make it work for them. So we do know that it's part over total gives us the decimal. Let's say we wanted to just figure out the part. So the part is missing. I want the p, the part, all by itself. So to get rid of this t on the bottom, I'm going to times this side by t and times this side by t. These cancel out, one on the top, one on the bottom. So my p is now alone. And over here I have the decimal times the total. So if I ever wanted to figure out just the part, I need to do the decimal times the total. So now here the total is missing. I'm going to use this equation from up there. So the part is the decimal times the total. I want the total all by itself because that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to divide by d and divide by d so that I get the t all by itself. Those cancel out because there's one on the top, one on the bottom, and I'm left with p over d on the other side. So part over decimal is the total. And then part over total is the decimal. We already have the decimal all by itself. The decimal is the part over the total. So if you're ever lost, you always know that it's part over total. All fractions are that way, is the decimal. So you can always start with this and then work your way into all three representations. Finding the percent, that's something we've done for a couple years now, is finding the percent. Let's say you got a mark on a test, what percentage you get, and you calculate it by taking the numerator divided by the denominator. That's the part divided by the total. So let's use a quiz as an example. You got 16 out of 20. So the language I want you to start looking for is always connected to the total. The total is 20 and the part is 16. 16 over 20 gives you your decimal, which is 0.8 and is 80%. So you got 80% on the test. So here's another way something might be worded. 20 is what percent of 50? Of 50, there's our total, or our whole. What percent? That means we're looking for percent. 20 is the part. So we know that the percent is found by the part over the total, which is 20 over 50, which is 0.4 times 100, 40%. Let's look at it on a number line. There's 0, and there's 100%. Our whole is 50 which means 100% is 50. I'm going to go halfway down. So here's 50%. And half of 50 is 25. I'm going to go another bit. So I'm going to go 25%. And then halfway between 0 and 25 is 12.5. So if I look at this, 20 is about here. So it's going to be a little lower than 25. 40% is a little lower than 25, which means my 40% checks out. Let's try another one. Right off the bat, I see that this is going to be a little different. This is my part of 50. That's my total, or my denominator. And my percent is missing. So even though the numbers, my 80 is larger than my total, I'm still going to arrange it the exact same way. Part over total, 80 over 50. And this will give me my decimal, 80 divided by 50. And if I do that division in my calculator, I'll put 80 divided by 50, and I get the decimal 1.6. Times 100 to get the percent, 1, 2, 160%. So 80 is 160% of 50. So that means if I was to draw a number line, there's 0, there's 100%, 50 is my 100%, it's my whole, it's my total. Here would be 200%, and right about here would be 160%. 200% would be 100 value. 100 doubled is 200, 50 doubled is 100. So 80 makes a sense. It's a little more than halfway between 50 and 100. So there's my 160%.